Welcome to the Symphony of Realities podcast, boldly taking you where no podcast has gone before. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the conversation as you settle into your X, Y, and Z coordinates within time and space. Here are your hosts, Christopher Anatra and Sean Bond.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of the Symphony of Realities podcast. My name is Christopher Anatra. You know me as the Quantum Businessman. And I'd like to say, in the words of Van Halen, right now is everything. Catch your magic moment right now. It's all about the here and now. Today, we have a very special guest. We have David Wong with us, and we're going to hear about him and all the incredible things that he does in the reality. And I would like, before we talk to David, Sean, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hey everybody, I'm Sean Bond on PsionicLeague, PsionicLeague.com and PsionicLeague YouTube, also on Facebook, bringing enlightenment and abilities and a greater potential to the world. Yeah, and today, like Chris went into, we have a very special guest that will expand consciousness to you all of what is possible. So I'm going to read his bio for a little bit. So David Wong, the Qi Master, is a best-selling author, visionary, inventor, martial artist, Qi Gong practitioner, and entrepreneur. He is the founder of Qi Life, a company that develops cutting-edge technology for personal wellness and he is a world-class expert on Qi energy and the science of life force. His charismatic mission is to empower others to self-heal easily without relying on pills or invasive procedures. His own personal journey of transformation began when he self-healed from an incurable digestive disease that he had for over 10 years. Achieved with only frequency and energy devices in less than 12 weeks. This led to the research of development of many frequency-based technologies, such as the Qi Coil, the Qi Energy AI. Interesting. By integrating ancient wisdom and modern science, he has deciphered the code to longevity, anti-aging, optimal fitness, and beauty, as well as happiness and altered mind states that some say is everyone's hidden superpower. His lifelong passion is to help other truth seekers transform 1% a day and unlock their human potential in essence, healing and raising the resonance of the world. David currently resides in Canada and spends his free time practicing Qigong, piano, and martial arts as a third-generation Bruce Lee student with his two dogs at the park. Oh, nice. And you can follow him and his socials at use the Qi with the QI at the end.com. Thank you, David, for joining us. Really appreciate it.
Yes, thanks for having me. Thanks for the intro. Glad to be here.
You're welcome. So what got you into this world? Was it that the digestive disease that started, or was there other stuff before that?
You could say I'm a sort of an empath and have a sensitivity to Qi energy ever since I was young. So I felt like this energy when I was, I didn't even know I was meditating before, right? When I would sleep, when I had problems sleeping when I was younger, I would do these breathing exercises to calm down my energy and channel like a very soothing, relaxing and grounding energy. And nobody taught me this, but I just kind of did it on my own, and I helped myself to sleep better. And when I was young, I used to do a lot of running, and I would, during running, I would kind of channel into higher energies or higher vibrations to help me run in a trance state to run longer. And nobody taught me that. I just kind of intuitively did that to help, my physical endurance. And then later on, I found out that this was actually Qigong, which is a combination of breath and intention and visualization, things like that. And, then I started studying with my uncle, who is, he's a Tai Chi master and a Qigong master. And his mother learned it from the Shaolin monks. about 80 or 100 years ago. So I studied with him for some time, and then I started to, develop my own martial arts, education and practice. But then I became very sick in my 20s with this, digestive disorder that was described. And that got me into a very dark time in my life where I couldn't even do normal activity during the day. I couldn't focus. I had so much brain fog. I couldn't focus for more than a couple hours a day. I was chronically fatigued every day because literally I was draining life force every day. So it's like internal bleeding every day. So I couldn't really have a normal life. And I thought that was the way that my life was going to be. And then all doctors would tell me the same thing. Oh, this is a condition you would have to live with. And all you can do is just take this medication. Hopefully it works. And if it doesn't work, then you really have to just deal with it. And I think in my mind, I knew that there was a way to heal because I knew that nothing's impossible. And that I knew that my body was a lot stronger than it was. So, I started to meditate more at that time to kind of search, deeper within to find out like what's the answer to this problem. And that led me to frequencies, to magnetic energy, to basically what led me to develop the Qi Coils, which is, a device that I kind of fashioned together, experimenting with different combination of technologies in order to heal myself. And at that time when I made it, I actually didn't expect to heal myself. I only made it to expand my mind. I only made it to pursue my spiritual life. But what ended up happening is through that process, I accidentally healed what I had, that disease I had for 10 years.
Oh, beautiful. I've had similar issues with chronic fatigue and pain and anxiety and all that other stuff. But I can relate with it forcing me to figure out and learn and experiment and see what works, and definitely found out things that work. So I appreciate you existing and you sharing your story and methods that you've come up with to those that are in need of it as well. Did you what can we know about your Qi coils and like how people can get them? I see one. Is that one behind you? It's very nice. Is it made out of gold?
We have different sizes. We have
gold?
The mini ones. We made them in different sizes. So this is a mini because it's the smallest one, but actually is extremely powerful. We had somebody who had 40 years of back pain and couldn't heal from it. And he used this for 90 days and he healed from it. No more back pain. And his personality was completely changed since then. So it starts with this one, and then we go higher with sizes with the Qi Coil 3. So these ones, we have something called crystalline orgone and also quantanium crystals. And what they are is these terminated crystals that we put inside of them. And if you guys are listening are interested in or use crystals, you know how powerful they are because they hold memory, they hold programming, they hold intention, and they also amplify whatever you put into them, right? So by combining it with the coils, which emit magnetic frequencies, now you add another level of resonance into them. So that's the 3. And then we have the max, which is even bigger, which covers about 20 feet. And then we have the aura, Qi Coil aura, which covers like 3,000 feet. So the bigger they are, the more space they cover. And yes, you can protect an entire home with them. And they're completely non-contact. You don't have to touch them. You just need to sit there, and you don't have to close your eyes. You don't need to focus on it. You don't need to believe in it. All you have to do is just turn it on. And we have this, basically, I used to be in software development. So I used my software development team to develop basically the world's most robust frequency app, because we have over 10,000 frequencies on this app. which you can play through the coils. And we have all of Dr. Rife's frequencies, and we can talk about that in a second if you don't know who Dr. Royal Rife is. And we have about 800 of our quantum frequencies, which are basically like holographic representations of certain states of consciousness. So, we're probably going to be talking about today about reality and consciousness, right? So, so what we've done is we create different dimensions with these frequencies using math, using geometry from actual molecular geometry, molecular mass. So we take numbers from nature itself and angles and geometry from nature itself, and then we convert that into numbers, which can convert it into sound, which can convert it into magnetic energy.
That's really interesting because like Tesla said, everything is energy, frequency, and vibration. So what's your concept about how that's actually working in the human physiology? Is it affecting our DNA? Like, how does it work behind the scenes the way you see it?
Yeah, it works in many different levels, because every body function has a frequency. I mean, the simplest one is our breath rate, heart rates beating at a certain beat, right? Brain waves have frequencies. Our DNA actually can be affected by frequencies. Like they have done research on magnetic fields on just strands of DNA, and they can show them being changing their expression by just sending different frequencies to DNA. And the interesting thing is that our DNA is the most sensitive mechanism in our body to magnetic fields, to electromagnetic fields. So there's a lot of people have been studying like how does DNA actually communicate with the body to create that blueprint and to make that blueprint manifest, to create a body, to create the eyes, to create everything, the hair color and all that, right? And they basically show evidence that it's not through chemical processes, it's actually through a magnetic energy signal. So basically our DNA is sending this invisible wireless data instructions to our body to tell it to do what it needs to do, or to become whatever it needs to become. So when you understand that DNA communicates with electromagnetism, not through a chemical reaction, then why not create a magnetic frequencies or magnetic instructions to send to your body to tell it what to do? So to go the other way around. Because for about 100 years, there are a lot of these biofeedback systems. Some are good, some are not. But basically, what they do is they read what the body is doing, and then they tell you, give you a printout, and show you what it's doing. But what if there's a way to not just read, but write? Not just look at what's happening, give you a snapshot, but actually be able to program it and tell it to do exactly whatever you need, or find out what is missing, and then fill that gap.
Exactly. One of the things I talk about is that, like, I think of like where our existence almost like I liken it to software, in that our DNA like renders our avatar into this holographic reality. So I'm jiving with a lot of the stuff you're talking about. So yeah.
That's great. Yeah. So a lot of people listen to our frequencies. I'll play one right now, and then you can kind of get an idea how they sound like. So if you listen to this, people say, whoa, what the heck is that, right? So there's a lot of things happening in there. And it's not music because, doesn't really sound like conventional music. And it's not just one single frequency. There's actually 5,000 frequencies in there. And what we do is we find certain patterns and certain, let's say sequences that have a certain effect on the mind, or a certain effect on your nervous system. And we, and then we create these frequencies, and if you listen carefully, you can hear like there's different layers of things happening in there. So what we do is we kind of look at a like a model, like say a hologram. A hologram can be seen in many different angles, right? And depending on which way you look at it, it's going to give you different numbers, right? So if you look at it in one dimension, it's only going to give you, let's say, A. I mean, looking at another dimension, like another angle, it's going to give you B, right? And looking at another is going to be C. So what we do is we combine many different angles to find which one kind of feels the best, and then we kind of layer it together. So it's kind of like we are creating music in that sense, right? We're finding something that is pleasing to listen to, but also there's all this holographic geometry that is incorporated into it.
Yeah, it's quite beautiful, actually. So yeah, so Sean, if you have a question, that's fine. I definitely have a couple of questions for David, but if you have one now, I'll turn it over to you. Okay, I'll go for it. So one of the things that we talk about is something called Mandela effects, which were named after Nelson Mandela. A lot of people thought that he had died in prison in the late 80s. It turns out he never did. He lived until 2012. And it basically is a difference between memory and what reality is, or what the timeline is. So I have two of these concepts I want to ask you about, and there's no wrong answer. So just to get your point of view. So the first one has to do with our body. So in our body, where would you say your kidneys are located? So if someone were to give you like a kidney punch, where would that be?
In the back, kind of below your rib cage. Yeah.
Exactly, right? That's what I remember. But now in this reality, your kidneys are inside your rib cage, right next to your lungs. And if you go to look up like what a kidney punch is or something, you get all kinds of weird, it doesn't make any sense what a kidney, it used to be like an illegal punch in boxing and that type of a thing. So a lot of people were like, they learn this information, they go online, they look at medical books, they see where the kidneys are now located, and they're like, how could that be? I was always taught they were in our lower back. And when you got something like a kidney transplant, what they do now, in my old timeline, they take a kidney out, put a new one in. But now what they do is, because they're behind the rib cage, they don't want to crack the ribs open. So they actually place the donor kidney in the intestines and make a tract. So someone that has a kidney transplant now literally has 3 kidneys. So it's like, that's the kind of the crazy stuff that these Mandela effects are like. So I don't know, does that make any sense to you at all?
Well, I think like whoever is dictating, what is the facts these days is like they're manipulating it for whatever reason they are, and that's always been the case throughout history, right? Basically, whoever has control of the media or of what is the narrative will have control, or will be able to create the facts, right? And even a lot of dictators say that if you tell a lie enough times, eventually it becomes the truth, because people eventually forget what the truth is when they've been told the lie so long.
I totally agree with what you're saying, but there's another concept. Is it possible that we're literally in different bodies? Like, because there's other things too. The location of the heart has changed. Features of the skull have changed. The vertebrae in our bodies, from the way people remember it, has changed. So there's a whole other like concept, is like, if we're in like an avatar, so to speak, is it possible that we've been upgraded? Because the kidneys being protected by the ribs is like an upgrade. So now your kidneys are protected, whereas before they were more exposed. So that's just one concept. And I just want to ask you one more, because when Sean was reading your bio, you mentioned Bruce Lee. And for a lot of people, there's something about Bruce Lee that's a big Mandela effect, and that is the way he died. So from your memory, and there's no wrong answer, do you remember how Bruce Lee died?
From what I remember, he died from an aneurysm, right? He had a brain aneurysm. So, and they say it was because he was smoking too much weed and he was taking steroids at the same time.
You-
So that's as much as I know.
Yeah. So what you're saying is absolutely correct. Like according to this timeline, he died from a cerebral edema, which is like, a brain aneurysm basically. And the reason could have been from, they say, smoking marijuana, or from taking aspirin. And I don't know that many people that just die from taking aspirin, but that's one of the those are two of the reasons. But for myself and a lot of other people, this is going to sound crazy, we remember him dying when he was making the movie about I think it's called Game of Death. He was making a movie called Game of Death. And on the set, one of the, just like his son Brandon, and I'll talk about this too, because this was so ironic. A lot of people remember him being shot with a real bullet and being killed on the set of Game of Death. And then when Brandon died the same way, people were like, we can't believe it. He died the same way as his father. How could that be? So for a lot of people like myself, we have a completely different memory of the way he died. So that's like another type of Mandela effect. Sean, I was going to ask you, what do you remember the way Bruce Lee died?
Heard multiple stories. It's all like speculation. They didn't really come out with like definitive answers or like autopsy report. I heard drug overdose. I heard brain aneurysm. I heard maybe some complications behind the scene, and I've even heard the whole bullet thing, but I wasn't like quite sure about that. But yeah, for me it was like drug overdose.
Yeah, because I was like, when he died, I think it was 1973. I was like, I think in third or fourth grade, and I remember that. And there was like actually a poster of him, I think for the movie Enter the Dragon, that was actually in one of the classrooms. And I remember I would walk by that poster and I would just stare at it, like I was I didn't know who he was. I never saw any of his movies, but there was something about something that was radiating, like some kind of charisma or something that was radiating from that. And it's interesting, my teacher at the time would see me staring at the poster. So at the end of the school year, she gave it to me. She goes, Chris, I see you're always staring at the Bruce Lee poster all the time. So I wanted to give it to you at the end of the school year. And I'm like, oh, thank you. So Enter the Dragon. Sean's got a dragon behind him. David, do you have a viewpoint about what a dragon is? Have you ever thought about that?
Well, according to like the Chinese folklore, it's basically a flow of energy. So it doesn't necessarily have to be like a physical like creature. It actually can be an energetic flow or energetic manifestation of energy itself.
Yeah. Okay. And next year, 2024, do you know what year that is?
Dragon?
Yeah, the year of the dragon. I'm looking forward to that. And I'm definitely feeling you're emitting a lot of dragon energy, so that chi, or however you want to describe it, it's flowing. It's there. So wow. Sean,
Yeah.
how would you describe a dragon, Sean?
And as we go in dragons, they're a form of interesting. They're a form of consciousness that is old and has a lot of authority. It doesn't need a body. It can manifest in higher dimensions. They usually make into the management and the actual creators of like terraforming planets as a management of the celestial mind. It source from many planets. There's also celestial dragons, ones that are in the sun, storm dragons, all kinds of different energies. They're a peak hierarchical order of all elementals combined to one. So to demonstrate their authority and residual image when they appear to people, they shapeshift. There's a whole history. They come from every civilization on the earth in their history, and even though they never talk to each other, they're some of the royal families say they hail from dragon, like their DNA comes from dragons. And when I track that back, and it's like dragon family DNA lineages, yep, a lot of them that have manifested bodies and then bred with humans. So we're 4,000 genetic lineages of dragon family, and like the public ones are like the red dragon family of China, white one of Japan, and there's a few others like Celtic ones and all that. Bruce Lee also seems to entangle one with one having to do with his martial arts lineage of speed.
Well, he was born in the year of the dragon. You know that, right?
Oh, I didn't know that. That's cool.
So 1940 was the year of the dragon, and his name in Chinese means little dragon.
Ooh,
yeah, there you go.
That's great.
Yeah, exactly. And so like dragons don't need physical bodies. They have most of the physical body ones are near extinction because there's like wars, they're hunted, they're cursed to near extinction and breeding. Most of them are underground in a dormancy and a hibernation life extension. The ones that don't need bodies are all different places in authority and like safe homestead, and some have incarnated as humans or other animals, and because they have a massive soul that they can put into multiple places. Similar, so Bruce Lee was a dragon, and there's a lot of other people in history that are big movers and shakers and that have the energy that demonstrate that force, that dragon force that you talked about, the ability to manifest some very interesting actions, abilities, types of energy, manifestation, creations in this realm of reality that has a lot of rules, even bypassing what we think is possible in physics. What has your experience been with this force that you talk about with how China demonstrates the dragonic force and this energy of flow of energy?
Yeah, so in feng shui, if you heard of feng shui, it's the study of energy flow, basically, and they use that to design their palaces or how they arrange furniture in the home, how they arrange the floor plan, and so on, or even put certain decorations and colors. It's all about feng shui. So if you have a good feng shui, then everything flows well, and then you have auspicious times more so than unlucky times for your household. If you have bad feng shui, then that place will attract bad luck, and you'll have hardship and sickness and disease and so on. So and that's based on something called dragon paths, and these are the paths that they also call ley lines, which are grids on which the energy flows throughout the planet. And then there's basically two kinds of ley lines. There's yin and the yang ley line, like everything else. There's the masculine and feminine, and So when they designed the palace, they would put some stones that face a certain direction, so that when the sun shines on them, they heat up, and then they emit this energy, and they create this very yang effect, yang energy. And then they would put the ponds or the water in another area where it's nice and shady, and that's where you get the yin energy. So when they design when it goes to like designing gardens or designing landscaping, there's actual deeper concepts than just what's apparent to the eye. There's concepts of how energy flows and balancing the yin and the yang. So how that is kind of emulated through the technology that I created is I can literally create yin energy or yang energy with using the torus. So this shape, if you're not on the video, torus is like a donut. All right, so it's like a tube, and then there's a hole in the middle, right? So that is the shape of how energy flows, or some people even say that that's the shape of how of the universe itself. You can see it throughout nature. You can see it in the galaxy. You can see it in corals to sunflowers to even an apple. And the Earth's magnetic field or our body's own magnetic field is all in that shape of a torus. And what I've done is I was experimenting with winding them different directions, and then I realized that I felt different depending on which way I wound them. So if I go counterclockwise, I would feel more relaxed, and if I used clockwise, I would feel more like intensified. So I was like, why is that? It's the same frequency, it's the same coil, everything's the same. It's just a different way of winding it. So I say, maybe it's yin and yang. And then later on, when I was doing some more study into this, I realized that I was right. It's actually yin and yang. And this is how energy, yin and yang energy is supposed to feel. And so I was able to create something that could emulate that, which is now, so basically long story short, I can create feng shui with this technology. So if you want a home, you want to balance your home with yin and yang, you just use these coils, and it will override your physical feng shui, because you can't change the location of a home, right? The home stays there, right? They say real estate, what's the most important thing? Location, location, location. So what would you do if you want to have the best feng shui in the house? Well, you can just use the coils. You can use the larger coils, and you can create this balanced energy flow in your home to match that of the best feng shui in the whole planet.
So how does that work? Do you like plug them in, or the coils are just going through that torus field and generating it magnetically, automatically?
Right. So remember I mentioned about the frequencies, right? So the frequencies, they're sounds, but I have the patent of basically using the frequencies and then emitting and converting them into magnetic fields with the coils.
Okay.
All right. So the frequencies, that's the sound, or that's the program, that's the instructions. It goes to a power supply, which can be small or big depending on which one you get. So for example, we have these Bluetooth ones, which are wireless. So that connects to Bluetooth, to the software, to the instructions and the programs. And you just press play, and now that converts it into a magnetic energy. So this converts to magnetic energy. So it's silent. The sound is gone. The sound now became a magnetic field, energy field, which is goes through your entire body. You don't need to make contact, and it goes through all tissue, your bones, ligament, clothes, everything goes through it. So it goes right down to your DNA.
Yeah, because it reminds me of that concept of that study called cymatics, where they could put sand or liquid on a vibrating plate, and then depending on what frequency it is, it'll make like all these beautiful patterns. So all these different geometric shapes. So it's almost like what you've created there is doing the same type of thing. And I think that's why some
very similar.
Yeah.
With cymatics, they're basically creating physical representations of sound, right? By vibrations and the patterns they make in physical space. What I'm doing is creating magnetic shapes of energy, invisible magnetic shapes of energy. So it's a little bit different, but so see, with the sound, with the cymatics, you have to put your hands on the plate so that the vibration will travel into your body, right? And you would have to play it quite loud in order to have it vibrate your skin, and then in turn vibrate your nervous system and so on. With these ones, there's no sound, so it's not mechanical, it's electrical. Okay, so it's creating this holographic energy field that your body is tuning into.
I love it. One of the things I do is I speak something called light language. I don't know if you've ever heard of that concept before, where it's a type of language that it just flows through your heart, through your divine self, and it could actually change DNA. And it's actually a literal language based upon frequency and vibration. So you've tapped into something similar, and I bet with those different programs you have, you can get different effects, right? So if you've got 500 different selections, what are some of the things people can select from there?
Well, there's actually quite a lot.
Like the Rife machine, like you can.
I mean, the right frequencies is just one part of it, and that's 10,000 frequencies there. So like with that, you can search any ailments that ever existed, right? We have 10,000 of them. Everything from arthritis to like parasites to Lyme. A lot of people use for Lyme's, and so that's the Rife side, which is more for the condition specific issues. And then we have something called the quantum side, which is more of the like emotional and spiritual development, right? So here's another very powerful frequency. It's called the open third eye frequency. I'll play it for you guys in a second. So how do you guys feel?
Yeah, I felt like my third eye blink a little bit. Warning, if this might open your third eye. We probably should have done a disclaimer first, but that's pretty cool. Sean, how do you feel about that?
Yeah, I like it. It's beautiful science that people should build on more. So thank you for working on that kind of stuff. And going into what you were saying before, I agree with you. The Taurus flow and the yin and the yang field, definitely being able to create it when I was like, you hear a lot of things on energetic physics and spirituality and like the chakra system and all that, but I'm very skeptical but super open. I like to tune into this stuff myself, and I found the energetic field of the human body absolutely works like that, and how the energy flows in its generation and then goes out the auric field up and down and then back in, and like condenses in greater and greater density if it's not being stolen from, like with how chronic fatigue works and being drained or leaking out of your field. With the dragon lines, yep, absolutely, the whole ley line concept, and how kings were buried on the dragon lines, and that's how it says to. I read pretty much there's a dragon consciousness in all the ley lines, whether it's doing well, healthy, asleep, beat up, in a coma, or whatever, based on what happened in the land there. People can utilize and tap into these force lines and access panel kind of control room centers and crisscross places of power exist. They can tap into that as well. Dragons will like anchor into mountains and cultivate gold or silver or some type of elemental or crystal and all that, and then be part of the seeding of that, usually in consciousness. So there's devices you make can even go more into tapping into that flow of energy that you would call dragons. And with what I read in your devices that you presented, it does, but the consciousness mostly has to do with your familiar dragons, versions of you kind of thing, because it's your territory. And so they're like holding space over everything you invent. So that's pretty cool. So implosion and explosion, like implosion, I'd agree totally, like the Taurus implosion fields are the yin that like bring in energy and or like the cold, and the explosive heat and all that go into the yang. And then there can be balanced energy in combinations between them that I've found, and each emotion has an expression of the Taurus field as well, an explosion or implosion or both, or combination, percentages overlaid. And like understanding that science is what I've been diving into, and that can like have big effects. And if we can reproduce physical objects that replicate those frequencies that we need, we can apply them to the organs or the body or the state of being, emotion or illness, and give it what it needs to change rapidly, or even if it takes a while, that's still a benefit to the planet for sure. So yeah, thank you for what you're doing.
Yeah. So the goal is to raise the frequency of the planet, right? Because when I was sick, one thing I learned is how shitty it was to be sick every day for that long of a time. So when I heal myself, I said, I'm going to make it my life purpose to make sure people don't have to go through this, and try to make it as easy as possible, because there's many people creating these technologies, but something that I think I'm really good at is to make something that is very easy and very intuitive to integrate into somebody's life, even if somebody's not technically inclined, right? Because there's a lot of very complicated technology. I mean, some of them are pretty good, but they're very unaffordable, large, and probably have too much of a learning curve for people to use. So my goal is to make this mainstream, so that people will have access to it and use it every day with the minimum amount of effort. Because the more effort it takes, then the less people are going to use it. But the easier it is, then the more easier, and the more it's going to grow, and the more people are going to benefit from it.
Nice. And then I'll like go more into asking on your different procs and stuff, and I'll go into the AI thing. Before I forget though, I want to ask like, so you've been diving, you learned from Bruce Lee, like school generations?
Yeah.
Sweet. So what can you tell us about? Okay. What can you tell us about the method? Is it Jeet Kune Do?
Kendo?
Yeah.
Yeah. So Jeet Kune Do is, well, it's not technically a martial art. It's more of a concept or a set of guidelines, right? So Jeet Kune Do, well, the name itself means the way of the intercepting fist. So Bruce Lee's philosophy was that he wanted to do something in the most efficient way as possible. So if he would attack, with his two longest weapons. First is the thrusting fingers, right? Because this is your longest reach with your hands, and then one is the side kick, which is the longest reach with your legs. So he would focus on perfecting those two attacks, which you can see in a lot of his films, right? So the longest weapon to the nearest target was his kind of strategy, right? To hit first and to hit hard. That was his strategy, which is kind of like opposite of what all the martial arts were up to that time, which was very flowery, very flamboyant, and very complex, and with way too many moves. And even karate at that time, which was very, too structured and too rigid. So he wanted to create an martial art that was more direct and that flowed and that had fluidity with it. So that's the concept of Jeet Kune Do. So it's not really a martial art style, so to speak. It's more of a concept of using that philosophy and applying it to whatever martial art you're doing.
When I was doing the research on it, I went into training the brain signal to the muscles so that they're faster. And it's all about speed, which I was reading he had unlocked kind of supernatural speed going along with his dragon family lineage. Can you tell us if you know anything on the method that you use that you learned from the school into increasing
so with speed, there's many ways of increasing speed, right? So let's talk about martial arts, right? Well, first you can increase your physical speed, hand speed, right? So you train that through just some exercises of punching like 100 times as fast as you can, using some weights. So that's physical speed. That's pretty obvious, right? The next one is perception speed. So how fast can the other person see you move, right? So if he can't perceive you moving, but you already move, then you're faster than his perception. So that's the mental side of the speed, not just the physical speed. Okay. And then there's also energetic speed, which he actually doesn't talk about, because there's also being able to read somebody's energy field and being able to kind of sense what's happening in his energy field at that time, and then attack in the moment when the person is basically not ready to, or not conscious of your energy coming in. So that's kind of like energetic speed, which is not what he teaches in his books, but it's something that I kind of figured out he also has been doing. We just never really wrote it, but it's there. It's more like this sensitivity to the energy of the other person, and being able to project that your own energy on the other person.
I was gonna say, I remember like hearing about how when he would do a movie, the camera people and the director would actually have to tell him to slow down because they couldn't capture enough frames per second to see what he was doing.
Yeah.
He'd actually go that fast. And then it reminds me too, like, is there another level to this where could time actually be manipulated to an extent, almost like Neo in the Matrix, where he's able to do things like very, very quickly? Like, so like, could he have had a mastery over time itself to speed it up or slow it down? So just different things to think about and consider.
Well, time is in the mind, right? So if you're able to, if basically it goes back to his saying about when I'm good at fighting, I don't hit, right? It hits by itself, because when you practice something and you master something so well that you don't need to be consciously aware of you hitting someone, you unconsciously hit someone because you're so good at it. It just hits by itself. That's what it means, right? So in that sense, there's your punch has no time because you're not even conscious of it, because consciousness is what measures time, right? Like if you're sleeping, you wake up, all that time went by, but you're not conscious of it. So was that time there or was it not? So when you are able to hit unconsciously, then you kind of surpass time. So that's one way of looking at it.
Yeah. I hear that with the martial artists and how they have to act before they think, kind of in training their muscles. And it's like the muscles themselves have a brain. And I like going into my research for Speed Force. It's like I'd agree with the time kind of constraints. It's like you have your own bubble with the toroidal field, and based on how much you increase the speed of the circuit that's flowing and how the consciousness can perceive things itself. People that have certain layers of ADHD or this old Viking type of ability that is in that kind of concept with ADHD, where if you're in a fight, you can kind of slow down time and you can kind of act in just the precise way to overcome the fight. Like in the zone, like time slows down kind of feeling, but
Yeah.
it's really where you're speeding up, because that's easier to do than just have everything slow down instead.
Yeah. But we're talking about these concepts, but right, I don't recommend you going into a fight just thinking that you can just like manipulate time.
You don't recommend fighting itself.
You don't just like hinge on it. Right?
This is something that is developed over many years and tens of thousands of repetitions. So not something that you can just. I mean, some people, some geniuses would be able to do it, but they're few. But for the average person, it can be achieved, but it's going to require a lot of training, a lot of discipline to get there. But it's possible.
Yeah, don't go picking fights, and you got to train. Into that subject, also want to like do you train people in martial arts at all?
I used to, but I haven't done that for a few years. I used to have my own school, lots of students all around the world, physical school and also virtual school. But I stopped teaching martial arts, and the reason is because I found that when people want to learn martial arts, they're usually because they want to get fit, they want to punch faster, kick harder, build confidence, which are all great things. I wanted to kind of go deeper into the healing aspect and into the spiritual aspect of things, and I found that frequencies actually did that more effectively, actually faster than martial arts. Not to say that martial arts can't get you there; it can also get you there, but I felt that frequencies which could reach a lot more people a lot faster and a lot better than just by teaching martial arts. Ironically, recently I've been getting back into martial arts. So
have you been combining them together, kind of thing?
Yeah, so I'm 42 years old and I train 5 times a week with the intensity of a 20-year-old. So definitely just on the basic energy level, definitely that's my secret weapon, right? So I'm playing and sparring with with people half my age, and they can't keep up with me. Actually, a lot faster than them.
Nice. So that youth energy. How long do you want to live? Are you gonna do the unlocking life extension stuff?
I never really thought about it.
Yeah, because there's even a
Probably
concept,
could.
there's even a concept. So I'll just say this real quick, but basically there's a concept that when we incarnate, so to speak, and we begin a new life, we have these scripts we're supposed to follow, and part of it is a death contract. Like, this is the day and the reason and how we'll die. Is it possible we could even cancel our death contract? So those are some of the far out crazy things that I talk about. But yeah, I think that in the future, people will be living a lot longer than what people would imagine they ever could be. I really, especially with what you're working on with the frequencies.
Well, definitely. I think that's definitely that's a pot, that's doable. I mean, if you look at a lot of like ancient texts, even from the Bible, you read about people who lived for hundreds of years. So
Yeah.
it's just a matter of figuring it out. I think we're getting close to that, to stop aging literally,
Mhm.
and to even age backwards. We're getting pretty close to that point. I mean,
Yeah.
there's some people like with all the they call it biohacking and all of that stuff, right? But and I think that a large part of it will be using the frequencies and using this technology to program the DNA.
Hmm. Yeah, and yeah, more and more there's a lot of different methods people have used and will be using as they discover how they can program the body. Now be coming out to increase life extension. I think some of the elites have already found some of the secrets to life extension, but they're keeping them for themselves because they don't want to empower the population to get bigger than it already is, because then they lose more control. But yeah, and then so there's been people, they're covering up the age limit, like the fake phony one that's like 125 around that period, like Guinness World Record books. There's already been like people that have lived way longer than that in India, and ones that are like Qigong masters and alchemists and herbalists and people that know energy really well, perform miracles, work with different deities, breatharianism or whatever, like people that are really healthy, that are known in like some records by the royal families, that have been friends by some of the royal families, some that lived over 200, 300, 500, and even 1,000. So there's there's secrets to why we die, why we age, different radiations, the Hayflick switch, the telomeres, the different things that keep the cells from replicating indefinitely, and youth energy, a lot of things draining from us, a lot of limitations, projections, control, and cursing, and environmental factors that we have to avoid, that are toxic to us, that limit the age and get people very unhealthy, of course. But yeah, absolutely. Do you what kind of healing and chi abilities do you like to demonstrate, and do you teach anyone these methods?
Yeah, I have a lot of videos and courses that teach Qigong on YouTube. My channel is the Qi Master, David Wong, the Qi Master. Qi is spelled QI, according the Chinese way. And if you can search my channel, you'll find a lot of these Qigong methods.
We'll make sure we put that in the link too, so people can find that real easily.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff, right? Because I have technology and education. So there's a central website that has everything. It's called usetheqi.com. usetheqi.com, and then it's got everything that I have. It's got my book, got my Qi Coils, the frequencies, everything. And the frequencies that you heard, those are free, by the way. So if you want to grab those, that's also on that link. And they give away 7 of these frequencies for free.
Did you say clothes? Did I hear you say clothes, like that you wear? Or did I misunderstand you?
We have clothes, yes.
Oh, tell us about that, because I'm like, did I
This came out
misunderstand
actually.
you?
So I have a way of infusing Qi into physical objects. So this is called the the Qi hat,
Okay.
and I've infused like a small amount of Qi energy from here, and it lasts forever. Okay, it's infinite. So you would wear this, and then it would have some EMF protection built into it, and it will give you a very subtle, like a small energy boost, because you don't want to overstimulate people with the clothes. And we also have the t-shirts like that. Like I'm bringing them out right now, and I can feel my vision getting brighter. So we got this t-shirt. It comes in black and white. So this is like EMF protection, and it's got a little bit of Qi energy infused into it. So you can wear it and get a little energy boost and Qi energy, life force boost.
So are you actually like infusing the Qi yourself into the
No,
cloth?
this is technology based.
It's technology based. Okay. Is there something in the fabric itself? Like
No.
thrown in a washing
So
machine?
it's based on quantum entanglement. So I've developed a method to basically make an object and a frequency the same thing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So that's kind of like what quantum entanglement does in a certain level. Okay. So what scientists understand what quantum entanglement is, according to Nobel Prize winners, that like these electrons can be communicating with each other in instant time through vast infinite distances. So they communicate with each other faster than the speed of light instantaneously, because they're connected in some invisible, they call it quantum entanglement. That's what it's called. So I use the same kind of concept to entangle. Let's say we have an energy, so I know how to create the energies, and then entangle it with a physical object. So I'm not going to, reveal how it's done, but
No, but maybe you'll license it. Maybe people will want to come out with a clothing line.
Yeah, possibly. So if you have a clothing line and you want to be infused with Qi energy, I can do that. If you have a website, or if you have a even something digital, if you're a musician, and you have a song, you want to infuse with Qi energy, so that whenever somebody plays a song, they'll get a certain frequency. That can be done also.
That's awesome. You are quite the entrepreneur, like coming up with all these inventions and making it available for people. That's great.
Yeah, that's what I'm good at.
I'm very impressed.
I'm good at doing this stuff because I don't know, that's just my gift. I know how to make things simple and make things effective and desirable as well. And cool, right?
Awesome.
Yeah.
So have you what kind of how does this tech infusing Qi tech that you have that infuses objects with Qi like work, like without like giving away your secrets, kind of thing?
It works on the premise that everything in the universe is connected. So like everything's connected. So everything digital can be connected with something physical. So there's this interface, like the frequencies, they're digitals, they're on a tablet or on a website, but they can be connected with something physical.
Could you do that with food too? So as it passes through your body, the food is emitting the energy, or does that break down too fast?
It's doable, yeah.
It's all kinds of interesting applications.
Well, I mean, if people really understood how connected we are, then it's limitless what you can do, right? Like there's people who have attempted to do this, and but their success rate is not that good because they haven't figured out how to entangle it properly, I think. So but what we've done is something very special.
I think I'm going to buy like a t-shirt from your place just to try it.
Yeah, just get a t-shirt. Now they're not as strong as the as some other stuff, right? So we have some other stuff that's a lot stronger, and they're not intended to be worn. These are
Okay.
But they're intended to be. One second. Where'd it go? So we create these cards. That's weird. Where did it go? It's in this bag. Must be a hidden pocket. Oh, here we go. So we create these cards and these discs. You may have seen these before. And we use the same technique to energize these. And these are very strong. Like I'm holding it and then I can feel my eyes like, whoa, this is pretty strong. So these ones will have a field around them around 10 to 20 feet. And that's it. You just have it near you and then you get the energy. And it's an infinite. You never have to refill them because it's based on quantum entanglement. It's infinite. So you can get these. But then the downside is if you're very sensitive, you won't be able to sleep if you have these around you. So when you're not using them, put them somewhere far away from where you sleep. Yeah. Or we actually have these sleeves. And interestingly enough, if you get these Wi-Fi or EMF protection pouches where you put your credit cards, they work to block the energy from the cards, which proves that EMFs can be good or bad, depending on what frequency you have. So if you're too sensitive, you can't sleep, you put them in these pouches when you're done with them and take them out only when you need them. So this one's very strong. I don't know if you guys are empaths, you can feel the energy from this.
I feel like a pressure like around my crown as you're saying that. So I feel something that's going on.
Yeah, so something's going on, and they're not expensive. They're like $50, right? So and then the t-shirts, they're not expensive. This is $40 for the t-shirt.
Okay.
Yeah, so very affordable.
Nice.
Yeah. So if anybody like buys one of these or has one of those, like put your comments below so other people that are watching this can kind of give your input as to how these things work. Absolutely.
That'd be great. So that's all available on the store. Just go to usetheqi.com and you can try these things out.
Nice. Can you tell us about this AI that you use to heal?
Okay, so that's even more. Yeah. So, yeah, on this podcast, you hear about a lot of different products. It'll take you a long time to kind of get a feel of and understand how everything works. So before I go on and continue, I want you to, take it one step at a time. Like people usually come and learn about my stuff. It's like, okay, where do I start? There's so much stuff. So start with reading my book. It's called Life of Qi. It's on Amazon. And it's also on my website. It's only $1. Okay, so get the book, read the book so you can understand what I'm doing. And it explains all the different kinds of Qi energy and all the different technologies that we've been working on. So you can get an idea. So you're not overwhelmed with all this different products and technology because there's a lot. So start there. And then the next, I would download some of the free frequencies so you can start listening to them and kind of experiencing them. And the next, I would probably try the Qi Energy AI, which is also free. So you can get an idea, and then next you do the Qi Coils and so on. So there's like a progression of what I would recommend somebody do. But now talking about Qi Energy AI, it's a software platform that kind of combines software with sending energy to somebody's phone or address. So if you have your own phone or you have people that there are other parts of on Earth, you can basically send energy. There's 17 different kinds of energy you can send to them in instant time. And you can select how strong the signal is going to be. So if they're very sensitive, you can give them a low setting. If they're not sensitive, you can have a very high setting. And you can even schedule it. So what you can do is you can create these energetic plans for clients. Even we have a section for people who want to run a business from this. So if you're an energy healer and you want to do remote healing, then you can create these plans for your clients. So let's say this one person needs a mood enhancement, or somebody needs recovery or healing, and somebody needs to be calming, or somebody needs something for their brain or detox or something. So we all have these different frequencies. So let's say you create a morning sequence for them, a night sequence for them, and they could be getting this automatically every day.
And it goes through their phone.
Yeah. So
explain that.
It goes through their phone, but there's no sound, there's no light, there's nothing, right? So the same concept as the discs. So instead of sending energy through a physical object like a disc, I'm able to send energy through a physical object like a phone, and all we need is a phone number.
Okay, so they have to be like connected on the phone, obviously, and talking to the healer.
Yeah, no, they don't have to be talking to them. They just have to be online on the phone or have Wi-Fi
Okay,
on the phone or be connected to the internet somehow.
like through Zoom.
No, just have Wi-Fi connection.
Okay,
Yeah, they don't have to turn it. Well, they have to have their phone on. They have to have Wi-Fi and mobile data connection for it to work.
okay.
Yeah.
How would you address people that are concerned about AI? Because some, people have different viewpoints about Terminator AI, good AI. So how would you describe that to anyone that was like had a concern?
Well, this AI is not as advanced as a lot of the AIs out there that actually can learn. But so I call it AI just because it's based on consciousness and it's a form of intelligence based on energy. So it's not an AI that can think for itself. So it's not that kind of AI, or an AI that can learn by itself or something like that. So it's different from that.
Okay.
What's the name of your AI?
QieNergy.ai. So QIEnergy.ai.
Is it like a chat bot, like Chat GPT, or?
No, as I said, it's not something that you can talk to like ChatGPT or creates graphics. It's nothing like that. It's more like an intelligence that can send energy. That's basically why I call it AI. It's like a software-based intelligence that can send positive healing energy to people.
I've heard about some people using AI, where, for example, the AI would scan all your videos, like everything you've created, your books and so forth, and then they could type in questions and it's like you answering them. And I've seen some people do that, and I'm like, wow, that's pretty incredible. It doesn't go to any outside sources. It just goes to what you've created. So It's like your child, so to speak. It knows who David Wong is and what your insights are and what your teachings are. So I think that could be a potential type thing for the future too, for all you and all kinds of people that have like you put out so much information, and then people like trying to find a quick answer to what should I do? I've got tinnitus, or I've got this problem, or that, like, and then they'd go to your special thing and it'd be like, try this, try this, try this. So,
yeah. We have some ideas about making something like that, but yeah, we haven't started working on it, but just in the idea phase, right, for that right now.
Cool.
Yeah.
So Sean, I know we're going to be wrapping things up soon. I know you probably have a long list of questions, but can you narrow it down to just like 2 or 3 more?
Sure. So what kind of abilities have you been working on recently? I notice a lot with your videos.
Ability. Right now, I'm working on just deepening my iron body and working on my martial arts skills more. I'm actually quite out of practice, since I stopped teaching martial arts. So I'm kind of like refreshing that. Also, what else am I doing? Kind of expanding the ability to kind of like empower other people and to ability to kind of help other people become and seeing what their potential is and helping them to get there in the fastest way. So those are kind of like the abilities I'm working on, on top of all the regular stuff that I do. Like regularly I do my bone marrow washing. I do my my heart meditation, pineal gland meditations and stuff like that. I do my Qi Gong, my daily tendon stretching and things like that.
Can you clarify what you meant by that kind of washing that you do? I just haven't.
It's called marrow washing. So it's
marrow?
bone marrow washing. Yeah.
Oh, beautiful. Okay.
Yeah. So it's pretty simple. You can do this while you're sleeping, or not sleeping, but lying down or standing up. And all it is just imagining just white light or white energy going into your your forehead. And then you breathe it in, and as you breathe out, just imagine it washing through in your entire skeleton structure. Okay, and then through your legs down, and then out through your kidney one or in the middle of your feet. So just visualization and just relaxation, and just feel that energy pouring through your body, and do that like for 20 times or something, and you'll feel really, really relaxed. And then the next step is to imagine yellow energy or golden energy from the ground. And if you're lying down, your hands will be flat on the ground like this, right? So imagine it comes through your hands, through your skeletal structure, up to your spine, down into your tummy, and then out your legs again. So you got the energy from the sky and energy from the earth, and you just imagine it washing it through the skeletal structure as well as the meat or the rest of the body. And then you combine those two at the same time. So all this is done without any movement. It's just breathing and visualization.
That's awesome, because like I know how important the marrow is, because what I say every 21 days your marrow makes a new blood supply. So good marrow means good blood, and good blood has all these other benefits.
Yeah, it's an ancient technique for longevity. Because when people grow older, the bones become brittle because the marrow starts to deteriorate and dry up. If you look at little like newborn babies, their marrow is the most fluid, and their bones the most flexible. So when you regenerate or renew that marrow, you kind of have this anti-aging effect throughout your whole body.
And I think having a good blood supply too makes it easier for your divine self to integrate into you. So
actually, the blood is very important. Like the dictators or those crazy, elites. They actually take blood from young, like teenagers and babies, and then they transfuse it into their bodies. Yeah. And then you can physically see them become younger from it. So you can call it dark arts or whatever it is, but there is science behind using young people blood. It's something about younger people blood to help you to stay younger or to reverse your aging.
Yeah, there was even that study where they took like an old rat or an old mouse and actually stitched a young mouse to it, so it got the blood supply, and then the old mouse turned young. So yeah, it's science, but let's do it the right way, people. Let's cleanse our marrow the right way and have a nice pure blood supply.
Yeah.
That's beautiful that you're going into that. Yeah, that leads to a lot of things: memory increase, how much energy you have, density, like the youth energy, of course, and like strength. And your iron body technique, I love going into that one, making the Qi shield so you're impenetrable. There's a lot of tech with that. I got that list of.
There's one downside with iron body though, because this is what I'm finding when I'm sparring with people. They're all complaining how hard I hit, and then they get really mad and say, okay. So you have to punch really slow. And then actually I'm kind of frustrated, because if I punch fast, then it hurts them too much, but then I can't train with the speed I want to train at. So anyway, I'm figuring that out right now, trying to find out
You gotta wear pads.
How to punch without hurting the guy.
They gotta wear pads. Yeah.
Oh yeah, we were wearing pads. We were wearing like full gloves and everything, but people are still complaining.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. So I also looked on your page, and it like goes into videos like besides iron body, going into pressure points, unlocking the brain, like that limitless movie, and how to increase your luck. Can you tell us a little bit on those subjects? We also have our own method in that, so we'll like share some of ours as well.
How to increase luck? Okay.
You went into your so for people, he has videos on how to increase brain capacity, like the movie Limitless, where you percentage of your brain use, how to increase luck, iron body, how to bend reality, as well as pressure points, which is really interesting topics. Can you go
That's
a
a
little?
lot of topics. Which one do you want me to?
Yeah, just
Oh.
yeah. Let's just do one.
Yeah.
I would.
How about limitless?
Okay, I was going to say luck because luck is a superpower in my. Because if you're
Yeah,
lucky,
limitless and luck then.
well, that's
We'll
two.
talk about it too.
But I
Let's just
love
let's just do
limitless
luck.
too.
Let's just do luck. Okay. So so luck is a frequency, and luck is kind of like luck is a flow of energy. Okay. I mean, if you study astrology, that's obvious. When the planets are a certain alignment or a certain time of the year, according to your birthday, you get better things happen to you. But even if you don't believe in astrology, luck is also a frequency, is because frequencies affect your expectations and your emotional, psychological, and physical states create a frequency. And if you're not at the optimal state, then you're not getting the optimal, projecting the optimal frequency into the world. So you attract whatever you project. Okay, so you got this frequency in your body right now, or in your mind, in your whole self has this frequency, and whatever you're attracting right now is based on that frequency. So in order to change what you attract or what manifests, all you need to do is just change that frequency and then tune it into something that has the most positive or the most luckiest frequency for yourself. And you're probably asking, well, how did I get this frequency? We have it. It's called Luck Boost. It's another one of our free. By the way, it's free. Again, I'll play it for you. Okay, so it's like a really happy kind of like you're walking down the street and you're snapping your fingers, like listening to staying alive, right? It gives you that kind of feeling. So when you have this emotional response and then you get this physical response, like you're kind of like grooving, plus you have this like psychological expectation. So if something's good to happen, you feel good, then it's impossible not to be lucky. That's all I have to say about luck.
I just wanted to mention that before you even played the tones, as you were talking about luck, there was a frequency that started going off in my left ear, and I was like tracking that back, and you're actually sending out the blueprints right now for luck. So anyone that's listening to you or listen to you, their higher selves are getting some luck information. So thank you very much. We appreciate it.
That's great. You're welcome.
Are you able to share any of the other frequencies you have that are free, so that people like, oh yeah, and then we'll like really put it in the
so
like,
there's 7 of these for free, right? We got the remove negative energy, that's the first one we played, and then the open third eye, second one, and luck boost, the third one. We have calm, we have regenerate, we have soothe, and we have sleep.
Let's go to sleep. No.
Yeah.
And then we have recharge. So those are free. You can get them at usetheqi.com, usetheqi.com.
Nice.
Yeah. Awesome.
How much time do we have?
We're out of time.
All right.
So everyone, if you'd like to have David back again, leave notes in the comments, and we'll try to have David back and talk more about all these different things that he has. It's like I'm overwhelmed. And I don't think he said even 1% of what you have. You've got literally so much going on.
Yeah, there's a lot going on. That's why I gave that disclaimer. People will be overwhelmed. You'll probably spend at least a month if you just like devour the content every day to really grasp everything that we've been doing. Because I've been doing this for 5 years now. So there's a lot of accumulation of technologies and devices and frequencies and education. So there's a lot. Yeah.
Nice. Where can you plug your information, how people can reach you and all the
just go to Use the Qi. All my socials are there: Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, etc.
And you got any projects coming up or events or things you're doing?
Yeah, actually on the 25th I'll be at Laguna Beach for an event, and the 23rd I'll be in Vancouver for an event, and then on June 1st I'll be in Dallas, Texas. So if you're around, just reach out and then you can get the information for those.
Do you live out in Western Canada, or are you more towards Toronto?
West Canada, so Vancouver, Canada.
Great. Awesome. Well, I want to thank you very much for spending the time with us, David, and I'm sure our audience totally is loving and jiving with everything that you said, and we'll leave a link to your YouTube channel too, so they can subscribe. And yeah, thank you very much.
How
Awesome.
can people get a hold of you, Chris?
Christopher Anatra, the Quantum Businessman. I have a website called quantumbusinessman.com, YouTube channel called Quantum Businessman, and I have my series that most of you know about called Symphony of Realities. What about you, Sean?
Sean Bon at PsionicLeague.com, PsionicLeague YouTube. You can reach me also on Facebook or PsionicLeague@gmail.com. And I got a lot of products, different abilities on my site, and gonna work on workshops and meditations and other things in the future. And for those that want to get a hold of me, it's kind of a little hard. So if you reach out and send me links, or if you make clips of like little shorts of these videos, like with David here, so that they can get out to more people faster, and then you send us a link to that, then yeah, we'll trade you for that, either in money or abilities or whatever, in readings. And yeah, great way to get a hold of us. So yeah, hint, and spread this everywhere. Share it as much as possible. The more we see in views, the more we're going to do these. We're going to invite, leave in the comments if you want to if you want us to have David back on. Smash that like button, click the notification bell, share, and but thank you for coming.
Yeah,
appreciate you all.
Thank you, David.
Thank you.
We appreciate it.